about poisoning. Daktari,
Yes.
you know, most of the time we eat food and sometimes we get this crazy stomach aches, and we don't necessarily get to classify them with maybe food poisoning. Sometimes we think, you know, maybe it's just our body reacting to whatever it is we ate, but we wouldn't really classify them as food poisoning.
Yes.
Or maybe another type of poisoning. So how would you classify what poisoning is?
Okay, there are so many types of poisoning, like what you have just mentioned, food poisoning. We have organophosphate poisoning, whereby you've taken, do you know pesticides?
Yes, the ones used in the shamba.
In the shamba.
Yes.
Yeah, there are some people who can just decide to drink them. So that one is organophosphate poisoning. We have children drinking paraffin. They don't know whether this thing they are thinking maybe it's water, that's poison. And also drugs like paracetamol. Children are drinking or overdosing themselves. There's also poisoning. Yes.
And what are the symptoms of poisoning? How would someone know, okay, this is not just a normal maybe stomachache, or this is not a normal reaction, this is something serious?
Yes, for food poisoning, you can having low abdominal pain, diarrhea, vomiting, your discomfort. Maybe you have stomach discomfort. That one you will realize that you don't have, you are having maybe food poisoning. And it can be caused by so many things. For example, uncooked food. And the mode of preparedness of this food, how you handle the food, and also, you know, even the food that we normally keep in the fridge, they can also poison us. Do you know that?
How? Because I'm sure if you put food in the fridge, it's obviously to preserve it, to make sure it stays longer, and you just warm it a little bit and you eat.
There's some bacteria, that temperature in the fridge, they survive there.
Okay.
So when you put them and then you expose that food to stay there for long, it can, the bacteria can grow there so that it can poison you.
And since we usually use fridge quite often,
Yes.
and we put food there to preserve them, you know, when maybe we ate and a little bit was left, how can we help ourselves not to get poisoning from the food we keep in our house?
Most of the food poisoning that for the fridge, it's normally not, it's not good for children. But you know, for human being, an adult like me, we have those, our immune system is now strong to fight the infection. But for the children, it is advisable that we don't give them refrigerated food.
So for them, it's just fresh food.
Yeah, fresh
alone.
food.
And
That's the practice.
Okay.
But you know, like, ignorance is around.
Since we are talking about children, and we also say that another type of poisoning could be when a child takes paraffin.
Yes.
How do we handle such a situation? What can we do?
Yes, you know, maybe you are away, the child, maybe you find the child sleeping there. You know, first of all, how will you know this is a paraffin? There are signs and symptoms of this kind of poisoning. Like you'll find the cough, there's cough, difficulty in breathing, there's a wheeze, you'll hear the wheeze of the child, and then, you know, the way he will behave, and also you can smell the smelling paraffin.
Okay.
So what you can do is you remove the clothes, and I told you in all the episodes that you take care of yourself first. You look
At your
surrounding,
sure
because maybe
safe.
there's fire there, there's what. When everything is okay, you remove the clothes and then you wash the child. After washing the child, take the child to the hospital. And something that we normally should have in the house, there's a drug called activated charcoal. Have you heard of it? Have you seen it?
I've heard of it, and I've also seen it a lot.
Have you used it?
I tried once, I really vomited. I
In
do
which
not
case?
understand why. I had a stomach upset.
Yes.
And my aunt gave it to me so that I could take to ease the upset. And I could not finish even half a glass. I vomited everything out.
Yes. So that's the best drug with paraffin poisoning. You can use activated charcoal. Yes. What do you use if it were you?
For me, I usually I do not eat anything if my stomach is disturbing.
If it were you, the baby, you are at
Oh,
home.
the baby and I'm at home. I'd
Yes.
probably give milk, you know, because milk is an anti-acid, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'll give the child milk and probably go to hospital if the child is still sick.
Yes. But you know, there are people who normally make the child, even the person, to vomit. You don't force, you cannot force the vomit. Because with the vomit, if you force it, there are some also diseases that that person can have. So you should not induce vomit when somebody is poisoned.
Okay.
But normally people like inducing vomiting. Please just give this person activated charcoal and take the person to the hospital. Yes.
Viewers, if you're joining us right now, we are talking about poisoning, and we've touched on food poisoning. We've also touched a little bit about paraffin poisoning,
Yes.
for children specifically, and we've learned that instead of inducing vomiting, give the child activated charcoal because that is the best remedy that they can get.
Yes.
So, Daktari,
Yes.
what about using eggs to vomit? I know you said we should not induce any vomiting.
Yes.
But let's say some case where, you know, you need to remove the poison from your system. Why not just vomit it out? Take eggs, raw eggs, beat them up, drink, vomit everything out. Why is induction of vomiting wrong?
Have you ever vomit, a serious vomit?
Yes, until your stomach hurts.
So when you induce vomit, you can also invite peptic ulcers disease. You can also rupture gastrointestinal tract.
Wow.
So, you know, you can damage your organs because when you induce that thing, you don't know what you are going to remove. You remove the acid, you will damage yourself. Because you give eggs so that you can be nauseic. You feel nausea, and then, you know, there are also some people, have you ever, they insert their what?
Their fingers there's this thing on the throat, I don't know how
Yes.
is it called. This small thing that dangles when you open your mouth.
Yes.
You touch it and I know you'll vomit.
Yes. So that one is very dangerous. Don't do it. Once you have poison, there is activated charcoal or milk. Milk is a base.
Okay.
It can also help. Yeah, in a scenario whereby you don't have what? Activated charcoal. Yes.
So the activated charcoal, does it work for all types of poisoning or only paraffin and maybe food poisoning?
Yeah, we normally, basically, we use activated charcoal on all types of poisoning, but there are also some management that we do it in the hospital setup, like giving fluid, giving these people antidote to interact or counteract the issue of the poison that is there.
And there's usually this notion, you know, that somebody looked at you with bad eyes. That is why the food you ate, whenever you were eating it and they were looking at you, you now have a stomach upset and maybe it's food poisoning. How is it true that somebody can just look at you and, you know, you get a stomach upset or you get food poisoning?
Scientifically, it has not been researched, and there is no science that can tell. Okay, it is there, even in the communities, it is there. People say that's a witchcraft. You know, witchcraft plus science, they doesn't go together. So that one, you know, is not a poisoning. It's like those are just evil spirit in this person. So there's no way how you can. We just manage palliative management of the general management of poison, food poison. You just stabilize this person with a IV fluids. I told you intravenous IV
Yeah.
fluids. You stabilize, you check the vital signs and all that. But the science part of it, it is not there. These are just witchcraft.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
And how long does it take, for the poison to cause extra damage to someone's body and even maybe cause killing? Because we've heard of people who've died of poisoning. How serious is this poisoning?
It depends with the type of poison you have taken. Like, for example, I told you organophosphate. It's
The pesticides.
Yeah, the pesticide. It is very dangerous. It can take even less than 5 hours because it's going to damage the kidney, the organs, the liver. You have liver failure because, when you take it, the urine production, your respiratory tract infection, cardiovascular, your heartbeat, everything, it will tamper to it. So this one, it can go with you very fast. But there are some poison, like food poisoning. You'll just get diarrhea, you get dehydration, and then you can be managed within a very short time. So it depends with the type of poison you have taken.
Okay.
Yes.
Viewers, we've learnt about the different types of poisoning that are there. We've also learnt about how quick and how slow this process can be, and also what to use, such as activated charcoal and milk when there's poisoning.
Yes.
We are going for a short break, and when we come right back, we'll talk more about food poisoning, how to prevent it, and talk more about maybe other causes of food poisoning. Why is it a leading factor of some murder cases in our country?
Yeah.
And stay with us. Do not move far away from your remote. We'll be right back. Welcome back, viewer. We were talking about poisoning before we went for the short break. We talked about the different types of poisoning, what to use, such as activated charcoal, milk, when there's a case of poisoning. I'm your host, Onyango Daisy Award, and with me is Dr. James Okeyo, who's been helping us throughout this journey. Daktari,
Yes.
when we were young, there was this small syrup for kids that tasted really sweet. And when when you're sick, you always wanted to take more. Could there be a cause of poisoning due to taking more of this medicine?
Yes, overdosing, is now poisoning. Yes, overdosing is poisoning.
All types of overdose from all medicines?
Yes.
And how can you deal with such a situation?
When you overdose, for example, children like this syrup called paracetamol because it is sweet.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, you can drink all of it.
Yeah.
And that one is overdosing. And you'll realize this child, there are some signs and symptoms that you'll realize.
Like what?
Like cough, this difficulty in breathing also, it is there. You find that this child, there's some sound, the breathing difficulty, and also there you'll just see the signs, the pulse. So you will come and see, you'll realize this person, this kid has drink maybe a lot of this drug.
And in such a situation, obviously there'll be a lot of panic. Maybe the child be in pain? How can you maybe relieve the pain and also help the situation, because there's an overdose here which might affect
the child will not be in pain. Okay, it might be in pain maybe of abdominal pain, but what you can do, you can find the child maybe unconscious, conscious. So the first aid that you can do, because I am talking about this activated charcoal, is very important. We need to have it in our homes.
Daktari, we've been talking about activated charcoal. I'm sure our viewers are wondering what activated charcoal is. What really is activated charcoal?
Activated charcoal is also a drug, like any conventional medicine. If you go to the chemist, even in pharmacies, you will get activated charcoal. But we can also make activated charcoal locally
How?
using the normal charcoal. You can grind the charcoal and you pass it through fire.
Pass it how?
You know,
Like we are frying it?
have you fried the groundnuts?
Yes.
Yes.
Will we need to add a little bit of water, because I know, in groundnuts, when
No,
you're
you
adding
cannot
salts,
add. You'll just pass it and then it will be activated. To
Okay.
activate, do you know the meaning of activated? To activate something, it will be active.
Okay.
It will change to a base. Yes. So it can help you to control or to dilute the poison that you have.
And what about this activated charcoal that reacts with the poison? What about it? What's so special about this activated charcoal?
A charcoal is a base. And most of poisons are acid. And acid and a base, when you mix them in your chemistry, what do you have?
You neutralize it.
You neutralize it.
Yes.
Yes. So that's the function of the activated charcoal. And then when you take it, we can also talk on the other side of osmosis. You know, when you take activated charcoal, the concentration of the charcoal will be at one place, and then the concentration of also the poison will be all over. So it will try to absorb the
Poison.
bring it together, so that the poison cannot spread to all the system.
And when you've taken the activated charcoal,
Yes.
What's the effect, like is the reaction? What will happen to you?
Being
your
this
body?
is
Will
a
you
base,
vomit?
you will feel nausea because you know of the bit of iron in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, more of nausea. Yeah, nausea. You understand what
Yes.
the nausea is?
The feeling of wanting to vomit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. And you told me you took it and you vomit.
Yes, I did vomit.
Yes.
And I do not understand. Is it a good thing to vomit? Because you said, we should also not induce vomiting.
But when you take
is
it,
wrong.
when you take it and you vomit, there's no problem. But
Okay.
there are some people, they induce vomiting. There's something I did not discuss with you about. There's another management, but we normally do it in the hospital setup. We call it gastric lavage. The gastric lavage, we use this device we call it nasogastric tube. Nasogastric tube, it is being used to feed these people in ICU. Those who are unconscious cannot eat. Have you ever seen it?
I think I've seen it, the one that is passed through the nose. There are usually many tubes with guys who are in the ICU.
Yes.
So is it all those tubes, or?
No, you just insert it on the nose.
In the nose?
Yes.
Okay.
So you will just push the nasogastric tube until you reach in the stomach. And then you'll take the normal saline. Normal saline is like water, the sterile water. You can push it, maybe you can measure around 20 liters. You push it inside the stomach.
This normal saline water is only found in hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you will push again. So when you are pushing it, you remove the poison.
Is this done when someone is conscious or unconscious? Because I'm imagining
when person is unconscious.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even when conscious, because you will explain for this person what you are doing.
Isn't it painful to pass something from the nose?
It's painful,
up to
but
your stomach?
we normally put something, a lubricate, to not to hurt this person.
So in that nasogastric tube, it's like how is it called? You're pulling out the poison from the stomach.
That's the point.
Okay.
Yes.
And another question. How long does it take for someone to be sick due to poisoning?
It depends on the poison you have taken. And I told you, when you take organophosphate, it can take even 30 days in ICU.
Wow.
So it depends with the poison you have taken. And for food poison, it can take only 3 days and you get healed.
Yeah.
Even you can also die. You can go forever.
From food poison?
Yes.
Does that happen when no action is taken, or?
Yeah, when no
Just-
action is taken.
Okay.
Yes.
And how can we prevent ourselves from getting poisoned?
All these things are through education. Yes, proper education should know where to eat, where not to eat. Yes, you know, these open markets or those people who are just selling the fruits, you go in the street, you don't know the way they handle these things, you can take and you get poison because of the bacteria, the mode of the way they are using.
You also talked about, you know, getting poisoned from food that is frozen in the house.
Yes.
So poisoning can also be done, can also happen in the house.
In the house, more so with children.
So it's basically dealing with our hygiene in the house also.
Exactly.
What else can we do?
Another one, what we can also do is through education. And also we see how we can handle our food. When you have these pesticides, you should not keep them close to people, even adults, children, even the drugs. You keep them away from children.
Talking of pesticides, I've just remembered, you know, most of the time we find that people reuse these bottles of the pesticides, and no, the big ones, the 5 liters, maybe the 3 liters. Is it a healthy practice?
They are reusing.
Yes, the bottles, you know, they wash very well, and then maybe you find they've stored water inside, or?
No, it's not healthy.
Can it also cause poisoning?
Yes, that one, after using it, you need to dispose it far away.
Okay.
Even in the pit latrine or in the dustbin, you burn this. You can also burn it.
And what would you say is the main reason why poisoning is maybe a cause of death among us as youths, children?
You know, the reason why people are poisoning themselves maybe is because of depression. Yes, because of nowadays people, the way you live, the economy, you know, so that's the reason why we need to be a brother's keeper. When you see there is a brother or a sister or a friend has a problem, you need to take action as early as possible. So we should not leave them or isolate them. That's the reason why they can say, oh, I want to take my life. And the easiest way to take the life is to drink something and you die.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Viewer, that's all we had for today, and it's been an insightful session. We've learned that poisoning can happen in different ways, through food poison, through organophosphate poisoning, that is taking of pesticides and other things, and also paraffin, and maybe overdose, when you overdose on medicine, and the normal stomachache that you've had, maybe the abdominal pains that do not seem quite normal, need to be taken action on, because maybe it's poisoning and you're thinking it's just a normal, you know, stomachache and it will end soon. I hope that you've had fun and you've enjoyed yourself, and thank you for being with us. See you next time, and same place, same time.